What if losing a finger wasn't permanent? What if a damaged heart could rebuild itself overnight? What if the human body, your body, had a hidden switch buried deep in your DNA, just waiting to be flipped back on? Here's the thing. It might. And scientists may have just found where that switch is hiding. Let's take a trip back in time, not to ancient history, but to something far more personal. When you were just a tiny embryo, barely visible to the human eye, your body was doing something almost miraculous. It was building itself from scratch, organs, limbs, nerves, blood vessels, all assembling with perfect precision. And then something stopped. You were born. You grew up. And somewhere along the way, that incredible ability to rebuild and regenerate went almost completely silent. But here's what's blowing scientists' minds right now. It never actually left. Researchers studying cellular biology have made a staggering discovery. Hidden inside human DNA are ancient genetic sequences, sometimes called silent genes, that were once responsible for full-scale tissue regeneration. We're talking about the same biological machinery that allows a salamander to regrow an entire limb. The same system that lets a zebrafish repair a damaged heart in a matter of weeks. These genes exist in humans too. They've just been turned off. So why did evolution hit the pause button on something so incredibly useful? That's the dark side of this story. As organisms became more complex, regeneration came with a cost. The same cellular signals that trigger regrowth also increase the risk of uncontrolled cell division, in other words, cancer. So at some point in our evolutionary past, the body made a trade-off. Slower healing, longer life, safety over superpower. But here's where science in 2024 is rewriting the rules. A team of researchers working across multiple institutions have identified specific molecular pathways that act like dimmer switches on these regenerative genes. By carefully modulating proteins like P21, a well-known cell cycle regulator, and targeting specific microRNA sequences, they were able to partially reactivate regenerative behavior in mammalian tissue. In lab models, damaged muscle and nerve tissue began showing signs of cellular regrowth that simply shouldn't be possible by conventional biology standards, and it gets even more exciting. Separate research published in the journal Nature has linked the activation of something called the WNT signaling pathway to accelerated tissue repair. When scientists carefully reactivated this pathway in older mice, the animals began showing regenerative responses similar to much younger, even embryonic biological states. Scarring reduced, muscle fibers rebuilt, neural connections re-established. We are not talking about science fiction. We are talking about peer-reviewed, reproducible science happening right now. But here's the part that affects you today, because we're still years away from a pill that flips your regeneration switch back on. So what can you actually do in the meantime to support your body's existing repair systems and keep those biological pathways as open and active as possible? This is where cellular nutrition becomes critical. Your body's regenerative processes, even the limited ones you still have, depend heavily on specific compounds. NAD+ precursors like NMN and NR have shown remarkable ability to restore mitochondrial function, which is the engine behind cellular repair. Compounds like spermidine have been linked to autophagy, your body's internal cleanup system that clears out damaged cells and makes room for regeneration. And fisetin, a natural senolytic, actively targets and removes senescent cells, the so-called zombie cells, that clog your tissue and block regeneration signals. If you're serious about supporting your body at the cellular level while this science matures, We highly recommend checking out Omre, a science-backed longevity supplement brand that combines clinically studied doses of NMN, spermidine, and fisetin in one streamlined formula. These aren't random vitamins. These are compounds being actively studied in the same regenerative biology research we've been discussing today. You can find the link in the description below, and using our code gets you a discount on your first order. Because here's the truth. The science of human regeneration is accelerating faster than almost any other field in biology. What was impossible 5 years ago is now a working hypothesis in a laboratory. What is a working hypothesis today could be a clinical trial in 3 years. And a clinical trial today could be a treatment within a decade. The gap between you and a future where the human body can truly heal itself is shrinking every single year. But your biology doesn't wait for science to catch up. Every day, your cells are either being maintained or degraded. Every meal, every night of sleep, every supplement you take or don't take, it's all either keeping those regenerative pathways primed or letting them go dark. The switch may already be inside you. Science is learning how to reach it. Your job right now is to make sure the lights are still on when they do. If this blew your mind, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because the future of human biology is moving fast and we're going to cover every breakthrough as it happens.